Jesus stayed on focus with mission despite the threat of becoming unpopular. Verse 12. Then they sent some of the Pharisees and the Herodians to Jesus to trap him in his words. The Pharisees were the Jewish religious leaders. The Herodians were the Gentiles who are the political people, fans of Herod and Caesar. The Pharisees would have been more popular with the Jewish people, the Herodians with the Romans and the political people. They try to trap people with a political issue. When they came to him, they said, verse 14, "Teacher, we know that you are truthful and don't care what anyone thinks, nor do you show partiality." They're flattering him here. "And teach the way of God truthfully. Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not? Should we pay or shouldn't we?" And they think they have Jesus with this Hobson's choice. On the one hand, if he says, pay taxes to Caesar, the Jewish people won't like him. They'll be upset with him because to tell the Jewish people despise the Roman government, it's kind of, can you imagine being a Ukrainian and being told, fund Putin's army? That's how they would have felt about funding Caesar. On the other hand, if Jesus doesn't say to pay taxes, if he says don't pay taxes, then the Herodians will be able to accuse him of insurrection against the Roman government, and insurrection can get you crucified. People tend to look askance at insurrection. Verse 15. Knowing their hypocrisy, Jesus asks, "Why are you testing me? Look at a denarius." He says the answer is in your pocket. They pull out a coin, and he asked, "Whose image and inscription is this?" "Caesar's," they replied. Jesus told them, "Give to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." And they were utterly amazed at him. It doesn't mean they liked the answer, but they were amazed by the answer. I think neither is happy with the answer. You know, he gives the answer that neither group wants to hear. Somehow he finds a way to offend everybody. It takes so much courage to refuse to compromise when it's going to make you unpopular. 1 Thessalonians 2:4 was one of the first scriptures that we were asked to memorize in college. In our first ministry class, just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, so we speak not to please people, but rather God who examines the heart. Whose approval matters most to you? My professor, Dr. Stacy, said, live approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel. You have been given a great trust, the gospel. It's not yours. So don't live for the approval of people. Live for the approval of God. If somebody in your office says, "Why are those conservative Christians wanting to impose their morals on us and forcing women to have children they don't want to have?" Do you just stay silent? Or do you say, "I believe that children are made in the image of God and therefore are worthy of being valued because they bear God's image"? When people bash the church, I hear it all the time. "Oh, those Christians. Why don't Christians care about foreigners?" I think, oh, you be really careful bashing the bride of Christ. Do you just join in because it'll make you more popular? Yeah, those Christians. And you feel like somehow you're going to be more popular because you bash Christians along with people who aren't? Jesus said to Saul, why do you persecute me? When Paul was persecuting the church. You need to be careful about talking badly about the bride of Christ. That's the bride of Christ that you are attacking, not just a bunch of people. In his autobiography, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus, Nabil Qureshi, a devout Muslim, tells of Growing up in a Muslim family, he loved his Islamic upbringing. He respected the Quran. He loved his family. He always speaks well, in fact. Even in his biography, he speaks well of Islam. He was a man of reason, though, and he wanted to know the truth. He wanted to know, God, who are you really? And in the process of seeking the truth, discovered that Jesus is God, that Jesus is Savior, that Islam is not true. He faced a tough decision. He knew that to follow Jesus would mean not just disappointing his family, but crushing his parents. He said the last thing he wanted to do was to break his mother's heart. In fact, he prayed that he would just die before his parents would find out that he'd become a follower of Jesus. He knew that if he went public with his belief in Jesus, that his family would ostracize him and that his life would never be the same. In his book, he writes, Jesus assured me that inconceivable pain and social rejection is part of the Christian walk. Whoever does not take up their cross and follow me is not worthy of me, Jesus said. To be a Christian means suffering real pain for the sake of God. Nabil Qureshi gave his life to Christ despite losing everything that he once held dear. What about you? Yeah, it takes a lot of courage for some people to give their lives to Christ. Because there are some people in our generation that are so opposed to Christianity, and they're so opposed to Christian beliefs, that to follow Jesus Christ means you're never going to be quite as welcome at home or around your old friends. Easy to get distracted, isn't it? When your family starts calling your beliefs hate speech or homophobic. But we live to be approved by God, not to please people. Stay on mission. Wayne Smith tells of a man in his church, Tommy Bell, who is also an NFL referee. In his rookie season, in one of his first games, he was making a call against the Chicago Bears, and the coach of the Bears yelled at him, "You keep making calls like that, you're not going to last very long in this league." Tommy Bell shot back, "If I can't keep making calls like that, I don't want to last very long in this league." It takes a lot of courage to stay on mission these days, to live, to be approved by God, and not to please people.